Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for joining. This is going to be hopefully the start of a new series. That's right. How many series can I start in the past week or two? But we're going to try and do sort of like the weekly podcast. So if you've been a listener to the Wildlife Photo Chat podcast, this is going to be basically a video version of that with me and Emily talking about our travels and photography, what we've been photographing in the last week. So we're going to try and do it weekly. We're starting this one right before we do some traveling ourselves. So there'll be one break in between this when we record it anyway, but we'll try and actually start releasing these every week as we go around and explore these awesome areas and get to see some beautiful stuff. And I'll bring this up for you right now. Here's some of the recent photos from kind of our past week. And we're coming to you today from New Mexico.
Yep.
It's a nice crisp evening. We had a beautiful hike this morning.
Yes.
We started like 9 o'clock in the morning and had this wonderful hike, about four and a half hours out in this beautiful wilderness. It kind of looked like this, mostly where we were.
Yeah.
We're only about 20 minutes from here. And this is some free Forest Service camping that we took advantage of last night and again tonight. We're about an hour and a half east of White Sands National Park, which is the main reason we came here.
Yes.
And so here's some photos from those beautiful locations. But we wanted to go back within our last week. I think this was within our last week.
What
we
was?
started in Bisti.
Bisti Badlands.
Bisti Badlands.
Yeah.
Which is
Definitely within a week.
a few hours north of White Sands. It's hard to keep track of all the travels, it really is. But let's zip right on up here in the photos and show you. This was the first day we got to Bisti Badlands. We walked out in the dark and we were treated to the sunrise in the morning.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was epic.
So we got there in an evening.
Mm-hmm.
It was dark when we got there, right? And
Yes.
we didn't, so the sun had already set.
It had just set and it was like a beautiful sunset
We
that
missed
evening
it being
too.
there. Yeah, we were just driving, but
yeah, we
that's okay.
got a nice view as we were driving.
Yeah, we certainly did. And so we got there and slept overnight and then woke up first thing in the morning, I think well before sunrise, to get out and try and see sunrise. And we were treated with probably the most dramatic sunrise of
That we were
our
there,
time there.
yeah.
How long would you say we were there? I don't remember. 3-4 days?
Something like that.
Something like that. And so, yeah, this amazing sunrise. Not much wildlife in the beginning, but here's Emily freezing
I look
out.
so cold.
She loves the cold.
I don't
That
like
is
the
one-
cold.
That is one thing.
Oh my god, I look like a monster robot.
But while we're out there, we started seeing some ravens flying around. Of course, every time the sun went under the clouds, that's when I would see them, right? You weren't shooting.
No.
I don't think you've been doing photography this past week really at all, right?
No.
Yeah. It's just been, like, the cold makes it tough for you, doesn't it?
I just don't enjoy
Yeah.
it as much in the
Yeah.
cold.
Has it been the areas at all in, like, the wildlife that you just haven't really connected with, or what do you think? Is it just more the cold thing?
It's probably more, it's like maybe a little bit of both, but like definitely the being out in the cold and then, you have to use your hands a lot and stuff for the photography.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just enjoyed hiking around the places, not really being as concerned about the wildlife.
Yeah. Yeah, because
photography.
you've been joining me
Yeah.
for a lot of these outings anyway,
Yeah.
just not with a camera.
Yeah.
Which is so fascinating to
Why?
me, because it's tough for me to go out without a camera sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
in the middle of the day, like today.
Today.
Today was really
And
easy.
you had the camera.
I had the camera anyway, actually, yeah. But
Didn't need it.
no, full sunlight, but it started cloudy.
It
That's
did.
why I brought the camera.
Yeah,
If it was
like
full sunny
foggy
when we started,
misty. Yeah.
I wouldn't have bothered.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's easy for me to be out and like on a hike or whatever and just enjoying like the scenery and even seeing the birds, but not being like, oh my God, I got to take a picture.
yeah. No, I can appreciate that too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're in Bisti Badlands, and thankfully the wind seems to have calmed down here. It was like ripping when we started this.
Yeah.
This raven, one particular raven, was flying around. So I'll just kind of go through these quick, but these were some of the compositions I was shooting, the 100 to 400, and really just trying to show off this beautiful, stunning habitat out there. It's so unique, so otherworldly.
It's a crazy habitat, yeah.
And we almost didn't go there. We were there last year. We were in both places last year. So we did Bisti Badlands last year, and then right after that did White Sands again. And this year, I was a little bit more for White Sands.
Yeah.
And you were pushing a little bit more for Bisti.
Yeah.
But then we realized it was kind of like 6 hours out of the way because we were further south in Saguaro,
Right.
in Arizona, Saguaro
And
National
then
Park.
we ended up in Sedona.
we made a bypass to Sedona to visit some of Emily's friends, so plans completely changed. And then we realized, like, hey, it's kind of, instead of going up and back down, it's kind of just across and down.
Yeah.
And so it seemed like it fit. Should we add some more wood to the fire?
Sure.
What do you think?
Yeah.
It's getting chilly. And so, yeah, we decided to make the stop there at Bisti Badlands, and we kind of sort of assumed that it would be fine even if we didn't make it to White Sands, but the timing worked out that we were able to do both. So yeah, we spent some time in this habitat. Here's one of the days. There you go. Get that big log on there. Here's one of the days with one of the photos, I should say, of a little bit of sun. Emily's going off foraging for firewood now. We got to keep ourselves warm out here. It's getting cold fast. And here's another one I really love. Like, I would have liked to have had a wider lens for this. She's coming back with an entire tree here. There you go. All right, you're going to snap that one up, I assume. That's it. This is what this show is going to be, guys. In the moment, Emily sending stuff all over the place here. I think that's like a root.
Well,
Yeah, it'll burn, I'm sure.
he wanted to burn.
That should do the trick, though.
Okay.
Yeah, good job.
I left the show.
Yeah, so anyway, this is going to be the show. We're going to just be in the moment and kind of telling you about our travels. Let me get this sand off of here.
Oh, is that from me?
Something kind of flew over at me there.
Oh, well.
Anyway, this one I would have loved to have had a wider lens on because it was a little tight there. And I would have liked to have shown off some more of the formation and stuff down there, but I still really like it. I think it works really well. Is the screen brightness up? Yeah. Then he landed, got with some of the formation. So, and there we go, like the dramatic clouds, that morning.
Yeah, they were stunning. And then just
crazy.
like the different lighting patterns with the way that the sun was coming in and out and just like hitting the Badlands.
Do you remember after I took this one, I like took off running up that hill, like just trying to get up anywhere because I wanted to show this off. I'm like, he's landed there. We were down in sort of like a little valley thing. Yeah. And he was landed up top. So I did the silhouette first because I didn't know how long he'd stay. Then I got this shot and I was kind of like, all right, well, what else am I going to do here? He's just going to sit in the same spot. So let me see if I can get up. So I ran up this
these things aren't
hillside.
Like easy to climb up.
Not at all. And like you can kind of see it out here. It's like this kind of stuff. Yeah. So I go running up it and he stayed. I got up there enough to be able to show this. Now, this is one of those that to me it's like it's still a little flat. It's kind of like one-dimensional, you know? And I think a big part of that is just the lighting. It was flat. Like if we had the sun coming in, if it had popped out then.
Yeah, then it would be more.
I think it would have given a lot, but also like look how I shot it. Like I shot it kind of silhouette-ish and brought a lot of that up.
Yeah, which I think you kind of need. Otherwise, it's just
well, I was trying to expose for this clouds up here. I didn't want them to go away. And so I knew I needed that exposure to get this, but I still wanted to show off the habitat. And so it worked, but it just feels, I don't know, it's a little flat. Maybe like on a bigger screen it looks nicer. Yeah. But it's just still, it's not what I had hoped for when I get up there. And it's one of those things, man, you get up there and you're like, yeah, it's amazing, because you're seeing that view. Right. And like, even without the light. It doesn't always
translate.
It so often does
to
not.
photos, yeah.
Yeah, it's just.
Or in the photos, like, after you go back and look at it, you're just like,
Yeah. I know. I think when I first saw it, I'm like, yeah, now I'm seeing it, this is, a week later. And it's kind of like, that's all right. It shows off the habitat, which is nice. A few more from that morning of him flying around. This is on our way back. And then this is when I went back out. Yeah. So I went back out that was it. We went out that morning. That evening clouded up. Right. Didn't bother going out because it was kind of dull. Yeah. Next morning. I think was the next whole day. It was the same thing because it was like snowy, rainy.
It was snowy in the morning.
Yeah, it was like really crappy weather that next morning. Yeah. And we just decided to sleep in. Plus, it's really cold there. I said really cold, like in the 20s and 30s Fahrenheit.
I think it was in the teens in the morning.
Some of the times I think it was, yeah. Which I know for anybody that lives in a northern climate, that's not that cold. But for us and our baby skin living in the warm van life all the time, that we just follow the nice weather, it's cold. And so skip that next day. And then it was the next morning. No, it was an evening I went out. Oh, you went out in the evening. Oh, it was that same day, the snow. It started breaking up.
Oh, okay, it did.
The weather started breaking up that evening. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go out and just see what happens, because we had been in the van all day at that point. I'm like,
was that Thanksgiving?
Ready to get out. May have been. Somewhere, Thanksgiving was in this somewhere. Yeah. That's where we had our Thanksgiving, yeah. So I went out, I brought my recording equipment. I was going to shoot a behind the scenes project, and I did, and I still haven't edited it. I'm excited to edit it and share it. But for me, it was all about trying to show off this habitat. Found some house finches at first, kind of blah. Had a raven fly by this. This is actually a stitch. I don't know. Yeah, I think I ditched both images. This image with the good wings here, I clipped this stone wing up there.
Yeah.
But then the next frame, I had that in there. So I
Yeah.
stitched them together in post just to kind of show off that whole thing, because it is a really cool formation.
It is, yeah.
But I still don't love the wing position of the bird. It's kind of like whatever, you know.
And then
I was about to give up. I was headed back, and I went to a spot where we went the first morning, and we found a cottontail rabbit.
Right, yeah.
So I was going to see if I could find that rabbit
Rabbit
again,
again,
pick him
yeah.
up, and maybe do some stuff with him. And I heard a rock wren. And knowing rock wrens and how territorial they are and just how they usually stay in one spot, I'm like, this is going to be it. So this is the first shot I got of him. Actually, no, I shot a few more. These have been called down already. I fell down a hill chasing this guy, which I have on video. I can't wait to see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I lined him up. I was just trying to do anything with the rocks here, and then he did that.
There you go. Yeah.
And then I was like, already at that point, I'm like, this is it. This is what I wanted. I got the habitat. I got the bird with a cool, neat
it's like
formation.
3 tones there, which is nice too. Like the different tones
The
of
coloration and
the
everything.
colors out there. Yeah.
Really, really nice. So I was thrilled. When I saw this through the viewfinder, I was thrilled.
Yeah.
And you were still back. So this is just me out shooting by myself. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, he takes off, flies away, and then he ends up, I think, on top of this one, and he's going along this ridge. I shot a few more there, different compositions. None of these are edited, by the way, except for that one I did edit. The rest of these are all straight out of camera, so you guys are seeing the raw deal here. He goes up on top of a spot like this, and then he finds this little rock, this one little rock. Whoo, that wind is
Yeah,
back.
it's cold.
Man. And now there's like traffic out here. We haven't seen a car in, forever, but
What can you do?
he lands up on this rock, which I was like hoping he would, because he was bouncing along this, and I'm like, go on that little rock. It's just like one little rock up there. It was really cool. And then he posed like that. The sky started getting interesting. Then he goes all the way up on this formation. I told you, I think, that 2 more rock wrens flew over.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they were house sparrow, house finches.
Oh.
They weren't rock wrens.
Oh, okay.
It was him up there with 2 other house finches that flew in. Whew, that wind.
Yeah, it's pretty cold.
It's pretty chilly right now.
Even like next to the fire.
It's actually fine when there's no wind.
If there was no wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this house finch shows up, and he starts going in there, and then a second one drops in, and I got this silhouette of them,
yeah.
and I can see there are 2 house finches.
Yeah.
You can see the shape difference there.
Yeah, for sure.
They were just chilling up there, but anyway, it was
Yeah.
like a super cool formation at the top of this hill kind of thing, which was really, really neat. And then they left, and he stayed there. He flies off, goes somewhere else. I shot him a bunch up there, and then I walked up this ridge to try and get a better vantage point because I knew where he was kind of hanging. And then it's funny, and you'll see in the video, if you get a chance to watch it, I'm walking along this ridge, and then all of a sudden he's right behind me. I just look behind me, and I'm like, he's right there. I don't know if it was the same bird. I
Yeah.
assume so now.
Yeah,
At the
'cause
time, I
other
thought there was
ones
3
were-
rock wrens.
Right.
So I didn't know if it was the same one, but now it probably was, because I bet he's the only rock wren around. So I start shooting him, and this is all, again, this is straight out of camera. You'll see a few of my favorites. I have done some basic
I mean, even
edits
that
to
one's
them.
really cool to show off like that habitat. It's such like a
Yeah,
strange looking, otherworldly kind of habitat.
we say that all the time, right?
Yeah,
It's super
it's like-
alien.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really cool.
Then he goes up on that formation. I was glad I got him on the other side, because now it was like lit a little bit more instead
yeah.
of just a silhouette.
Right.
And it just, again, I feel like seeing the color of it most of the time shows off better than just like a silhouette of it.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
shape is there.
yeah, for sure.
But that is,
having the light to show the colors.
yeah, to me is
definitely.
like better.
Yeah,
Then
because
he
there is
comes-
like such
yeah.
a variety of shapes and colors and like
The colors
it's
are
very
something out
dynamic.
there.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
And then the sky opened up. It started getting
Yeah.
pink in the horizon, and I was playing with them close.
Oh, that one's really cool.
Still 1:400. Yes, and I was happy. I zoomed out to 170
Yeah.
here, trying to show off some of this rock stuff.
Yeah.
And there was cooler stuff nearby, but and it's just in your head you're like wishing, like, just move over here, go over here,
Yeah.
like this.
I mean, this is really cool though, right there.
It is, right? But
Yeah.
like this thing right there, in my head I kept thinking, please get over there. And then I started being able to incorporate it because
Okay.
I was moving around a little bit.
It kind of looks like a witch's hat.
Oh yeah, it does. He would, he would leave. He would kind of go away
Yeah.
and then sort of come back again, which was really neat. So like he would like disappear, and then a little bit later I'd see him back up there, and he was real curious. I was just making like little sounds like pss, 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 and he's just like bouncing around looking for like whatever was making that noise. And
Yeah.
I think a little bit curious about me, and then
Oh, yeah, there you go. So that's what you wanted him
that's
on.
what I wanted. And he finally went there.
Okay.
It was one of the latter shots
Yeah.
of the outing there. Excuse me. And the sky was beautiful.
Yeah, you have that whole kind of
Yeah.
sky in there. And
Again, like really wishing I had
wider.
a wider lens.
Yeah.
I love this. It really does show off the habitat, but I feel like I could get a little bit smaller and still have him show nicely. Like if I zoomed out a little bit,
Yeah.
and there was a really cool like pyramid formation
yeah.
off to the left. Remember that really tall one when we went back out
Yeah.
there later?
Yeah.
That was right there. And so I was kind of like, man, if I could have gotten that, But still. And then this
Okay,
is
that
from
must be the next day or something.
this is from when we went out. So
Okay.
that was an evening.
Yeah.
I go out the next morning, same spot, hear him. He went up to the top of that crazy formation, that really high thing again.
Yeah.
And that was it. Never
For-
got it. Like I got a couple of shots of him
okay.
there,
That was all of your shots. Okay.
and that was it. And I
Yeah.
think I deleted them because they're not as good as the previous
Right.
ones. So I don't even have them anymore.
Yeah.
But just, he
yes,
was
you
there,
just got really lucky.
and then nothing.
Yeah.
Then we go out that same evening
Yeah.
because we were getting ready to leave the next morning, I think.
Okay.
Go back out, and I had thought at that point, all right, maybe he's just really active in the evening. It's so loud. We'll let that truck go away. I thought maybe he was just more active in the evening because it was warmer, and the
Yeah.
mornings are so cold, maybe that kind of shut him down. But we went back that evening,
Yeah.
didn't find, I don't think we saw a rock wren
I don't,
anywhere.
yeah.
I don't know if we ever even
we heard
one.
something, I feel
Did we?
like.
I don't remember.
I don't remember, yeah.
So we ended up just doing a hike. It was a beautiful sunset, and
Yeah, it was
this
really
almost looks like a
stunning.
drone shot, but we had just climbed up like one of the highest hills in the area, which was pretty easy to get up. That one wasn't too bad. And we get this view up
Yeah.
there. And then we shot a few, and then I took some of Emilie up there. The colors were just beautiful.
Oh, it's stunning, yeah.
And like that's where I wanted to get, like just, give me any bird up there, right? But in the absence of birds,
And Neil just had me.
I'll totally take Emily up there. But there you can kind of really get to see, like, this is how high we are.
Yeah,
We were
such
up
a cool
elevated there, and
habitat too, environment.
the place is stunning.
Yeah,
It really is.
really cool.
It makes me want to be back there again. Yeah.
And then
Then we go to White Sands.
Yeah.
So left that next morning, drove right to White Sands. It's like 2 hours away, 3 hours,
three.
something like that. Wasn't-
6. It was 6. It's 6 hours away.
Did we stop somewhere?
I don't know, but it's 6 hours away.
That's right.
Is it 2, 3? No, it's 6 hours.
Yeah.
I
Well-
think we did the whole drive.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I
We
think
got
we
ourselves
did.
to White Sands and then went back out. This was an evening. We went out
Yeah.
in the evening.
Right.
Actually, we got to White Sands pretty early. We must have stayed somewhere because we got to White Sands really early in the day
I don't know.
that next day. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yes, we did. We stayed halfway.
And then we had this beautiful sunset out there. Again, none of these are edited. I'm just going to go through some of these, some of our favorites here, or just some of the ones I shot, actually. You're kind of seeing everything. I haven't even culled through any of this stuff. But that sunset was another stunning, beautiful one.
Yeah.
It just never fails
yeah,
out there.
it's so pretty.
It's always so damn
It
pretty
is
out there.
really pretty.
And this one, I think we stayed later than we normally do.
Right.
Like we were here last year and we never stayed quite this late. But then the colors started getting really good. It's just like the water tower way out there.
Oh, I was like, is that a person?
But I liked the shapes and everything. I figured I'd just
Yeah.
clone that out of there.
Yeah.
But the problem is, and I would love to shoot wildlife out there, but we have never seen a single thing out
In those dunes.
in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the colors starting to really hit. And then we had that crazy gradient
Yeah.
walking back.
Yeah, it's coming at you.
Yeah, just beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at these colors. It was stunning.
So then, thinking about how pretty it was, you were like, I want to go try and find wildlife in there.
Yes. Yeah. And so we tried a different spot the next
Yeah.
morning. So yeah, I'll kind of sift through these really quickly here. And in fact, let's go. We'll just go. This was a fun shot. I like this.
Yeah.
We found that cool bush on the way back. Oh,
Oh no, then the next.
that sky was
Yeah.
epic. That was still that night, walking
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
It was just when the sun was behind the mountains, just crazy colors happening.
So then when was the ducks? The next day?
The next evening, yeah, we
Yeah.
decided I had a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of appointments, so we couldn't get back out.
Right.
They overlapped when we could get out there.
Right.
And so right at dusk, I wrapped up my last appointment. This is the next day.
Right.
I just walked out of the van, and then there's all of this. We stayed in another free camping area just outside of White Sands National Park, like what?
Like 3 minutes away.
3 minutes down
Yeah.
the road. Yeah. It's like a wastewater treatment place just outside of an Air Force base.
Yeah.
It's a weird
Super
setup
random.
out there, but
Yeah.
it's a really nice camping area.
Yeah.
It's really pretty.
Popular.
The water is weird. It's like
Yeah.
weirdly colored and stuff, and but it's like, it's nice views and
Yeah.
free camping and really close to White Sands, which is what
Yeah.
we were after. And yeah, so I go out. There's tons of ducks in there, tons of shovelers. What else is in there? Ruddy ducks. Shovelers are like the main ones. Boy, we need some more.
Yeah.
Right, don't we?
Yeah.
I'm sending her back out again.
I have this one still.
We feel the cooling when the fire dies down. So yeah, tons of northern shovelers out there, and I just I went out with the 28-400, which is the new lens I have, because I thought I might want to show some wider stuff and shoot some closer stuff. So here's some good examples. Like this is 66 millimeter, just trying to do some really small and frame stuff with them swimming across like that. 115, and then something like this is into 400 millimeter. And not that that's the same exact duck in the same spot, but they're all kind of close to that area. Sometimes they'd come a little closer to the shoreline. It's funny what's happening over there. Sometimes they'd come closer to the shoreline, but not all the time. And so, yeah, I just wanted the flexibility of that lens. I really did. Yeah, I think you're gonna have to find something else out.
Yeah.
She's trying to snap this big branch over there. It's not happening, folks. It was like a diving board over here. It was pretty funny. But I really love the flexibility of that lens. Now, because, like I said, right, it's a wastewater treatment area. Last year, I had done some research about it, and it doesn't sound like the water's that bad, but I would never want to get in it. So last year when we were there, I did go down and do some water level shooting, but I brought like a mat that I would lay down so I wasn't laying in any of the sand or any of the stuff in like the edge, because I didn't want to touch anything, And so I did some water level shooting last year, but this year I was just, number one, I didn't have the time. Number two, I didn't really have the desire. I was kind of just, I already shot like that location as far as water level portraits. And it is pretty, like especially when the light hits just right in both morning and evening, it can be really interesting. But I kind of noticed that it had calmed down that evening and the water was getting really calm. And so I kind of thought from the higher perspective, which I say higher, I don't know, the shoreline maybe slopes up like maybe 10 feet, if that. So you're elevated a little bit, plus me standing up. So I'm probably like 15 feet off the water from my perspective. But I thought kind of looking down into it might make for some interesting stuff, especially with the colors, if they were gonna happen with like a dusk thing with like the pastels and stuff like that. And just the ducks swimming across, the wakes of the ducks and stuff like that. So yeah, in this case, I was just standing up high doing the shooting down thing. And I think it worked out for images like this.
For sure.
Where, it's like the lower you were, the bird would be more into the horizon kind of thing, like this kind of stuff, you needed to be higher to get that sort of open space minimal thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll just go through some thumbnails here because I shot a ton. I did some with these bushes. That was kind of a thing that, I think we already talked about that maybe. Oh no, that was the beginning of it. Just trying to incorporate that. We got this guy here, which I didn't love this, but...
I like it.
Yeah, you don't mind it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, for me, whatever reason, when I have something in focus there, if the foreground element isn't kind of big enough and dominant enough, it just is it feels like a little bit of a distraction, but not so for you.
No,
Yeah.
I like it.
Cool. And you can see in the next shot here, I kind of cropped it out. So I did some more minimal stuff, like playing with the wake, but the bird shape wasn't great there. And then here's where I really started playing with those
Bushes.
those foreground bushes.
Yeah.
I sent some of these to our good friend Brad, and he kind of had pointed out that he thought the bushes were a little bit too dominant
Right.
and attention getting in the foreground.
I feel like the one thing is there's not much else in the scene there's nothing else distracting. So I feel like it can go either way.
Yeah.
Like, it can be just an element of the photo that makes it more interesting.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would just be that blue.
I mean, there's no doubt it's dominant. It's
Sure.
a in-your-face
Yeah.
bush.
Yeah.
How do you not laugh at that statement? Yeah, but I think there's an interesting element to it. I tried some vertical and stuff like that with it. So, just playing around a bunch of different ways with the different compositions here.
Yeah.
Some of these sunset ones were tough. It's just, not working out that well. I went with some darker ones as well. I think, maybe some darker ones later when it got closer. But these were kind of fun, I think, playing with the wake coming through there.
For sure. Once you edit it and get the colors kind of right.
Yeah, like that.
It'll be really nice.
It's a little dark on the screen
Yeah.
right now for sure, so it's got to pop up a little bit more. But
yeah,
that'll be cool.
you got a nice set.
Here's some I played with, with
Yeah.
like the sunset, kind of a nice lineup on the ducks there.
For sure, yeah.
And then maybe a little bit closer too. Yeah, so I think there's some potential there. But then I'll just scroll till later. Oh, this rock wren, he comes in, lands down the shoreline further.
Right.
Then he comes over closer and lands right in front of me. I'm able to shoot him pretty wide here, almost fully open on the thing. So I started out, I think I was standing up or maybe just crouched down. I think I was crouched down because I saw him coming. Mm-hmm. So I did get a little bit of a lower perspective. I didn't want to be standing up. I thought like he'll never come, out if he's closer.
Right.
So I did do that, but I don't love all the space in between here from that higher perspective. So I shot some of these first, and then as I went through, I took a few of those, and then I got lower. Mm-hmm. And that to me like cleaned it all up,
Yeah.
And I feel like it cleans up something else about it too, doesn't it? Seem like it?
Maybe the waves.
Oh, it minimizes the foreground.
Oh, the foreground.
I'm looking down onto all this
all
stuff
that
here,
stuff.
and then
like,
it kind of cleans it up because I'm not looking down on it so much anymore.
And it doesn't, that foreground doesn't add anything to the scene.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it there.
Yeah.
So that made it better. Then I waited for him to get in a good position. I think I have one coming up here that I played with and edited. There we go. That one. So ended up full wide on it, 28 millimeter.
Yeah.
And got a shot I was really happy with, just showing off that habitat, and the colors are really nice, the gradients.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost a thing like, what do you think with something like this? If this had like epic clouds and a beautiful sunset and everything, would that make it better, or would it be? I guess it depends on where those clouds were and how they were placed.
If the bird still, I feel like the bird still would have to be like kind of dominant and be able to see him. Like I feel like in this scene it works really well, just having the kind of gradient there with the blue and the orange.
It simplifies it. He jumps out.
He stands out.
Yeah.
So like I think clouds can be really beneficial and just like make for a more interesting image. But I think in this case, I don't know that it would.
Yeah, it's. I guess it depends. It really does. Like, my first thought is, oh man, if this was like an epic sunset, that would have been cooler. But then I'm also kind of like, well, the simplicity really makes this bird stand out.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff can go either way. Then the sun dips.
And that beautiful pink.
And these colors start coming up. These birds are swimming around. I'm just playing with like the wake shape from them, and like
really beautiful kind of lines there.
As soon as they made the turn, I really saw that, that curve of the wake there and everything. And I played with a couple different compositions, putting it on this side so he's coming into the frame, on this side so you can see the full wake.
Yeah. I do kind of like that full wake there.
Yeah, me too. I think those will be the ones that I'm a little bit more interested in.
Right.
None of these are edited too. I know I've said that a few times, but please don't judge me on these. These are straight out of camera. The color got really nice. Here's one I did edit.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Beautiful.
Just so clean. I mean, the straight out of camera on this, not too bad either. Like they're straight out of camera.
It's like pretty much,
just a little punch up on it. I didn't have to do much to it.
Yeah, there's something just really nice about the beautiful colors and then the bird. It's like a very kind of...
Yeah, and it's so fun too when I can do that small in frame. I mean, that thing is tiny in frame.
But he totally sticks out.
There's nothing else to look at.
Because there's nothing else other than just, the pretty colors of the sunset.
And this is certainly another one of those that higher perspective made possible.
Right.
If I was lower perspective, like this sort of... I don't know if I can... Yeah. If I was lower perspective, the bird would have pushed way up here into that space or even closer into that horizon. And I wouldn't have been able to... I would have been able to do compositions more like this, where I have him on the top edge.
Right.
But I wouldn't be able to do something like this where he's kind of in the middle and I have a lot of space above him.
Right.
So it definitely freed up composition kind of stuff for that. And then, then we go back out to White Sands. So you want to tell everybody about that next outing to White Sands and our little bit of a different approach there?
Yeah, so we went to a different area of White Sands National Park in order to hopefully see more wildlife because it was a trail that included more of the vegetation. So... Yeah.
And so we first get out there were some ravens flying around. So I just shot them. They're such a speck in the frame that it's not going to really do the trick.
And it's a very different look than the other part of the park that we had been in. That was very just clean dunes.
Tough to make look as nice.
Yes.
Really tough to make look as nice.
Yeah.
It was. We saw some other birds flying around way out there. I think, if I'm not mistaken now, it looks like they're kind of probably harriers. It's like a long tail white band there, so probably maybe like a male female harrier. That one looks kind of gray, so he's probably a male. Anyway, just documenting that.
Yeah. Then you got this woodpecker.
Yeah, we got this woodpecker. Still don't know what he is. Probably a harrier. He probably looks like a hairy, maybe. Downy or hairy, something like that would be my guess. I was just taking some of these to ID him. But he was in kind of this mess the whole time, right? Like, that's the best I could come up with. And
yeah. Not great.
No, I love this here and that, but all that vegetation.
Yeah, if it was just to kind of clean outside of that.
If it was like this habitat.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that kind of crazy, the difference?
Oh my gosh, like that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's like in my head. Like the possibility of that is in my head. Sure, because
you know it's like just down the road. It's just like these beautiful scenes.
I would take any bird just flying through that space.
Yeah.
It would just be, because it's so simple too, I think the bird would stand out.
Yeah.
Anyway, but.
A little messy.
Yep. So he flies over to this. I see the dunes there. I'm like, oh, this can be cool. I run over, try and make some composition out of them. Like that's probably the best one I got. And it's still, what do you think?
A little branchy.
Yeah.
A little branchy.
It's one of those kind of shots where I think, like I know for me, I want it to work. You want to move a little? Should we shift back in a little bit there?
Sure.
I'm getting a little cold on the outside edge here.
Because of the location and where we were and just like.
Because of the location, I want it to work, but it's too branchy.
Yeah.
It really is just a mess. And I could clone all this stuff and try and clean it up, but to me that's just too much of an edit.
Right.
It's just trying to...
It's not really the reality of what was there.
Yeah, and I'll do some decent edits, but that to me is just like a failed shot and it's not worth fixing.
And it's not on you, it's just like the environment that was there. It was just
I was trying to do the best I could, but like if he was out here, I probably could have composed something with him just like peeking into the frame.
Sure.
But up there, I had to include all of this
to
keep him in there, and it just doesn't work. So, but then immediately after I take this, you're recording a story for Instagram,
just Instagram,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you want to tell what happened?
Great horned owl just flew out of the tree you were standing next to.
Just blasted right out of the tree I was standing next to. Scared the hell out of both of us. Just saw something flying up here. Because he was loud. There was like a taller-ish tree, like maybe 20-foot high tree with a lot of leaves in it.
Yeah.
And he just launched right out of it. I had no idea he was there because I was so concentrated on this
whatever
you were woodpecker.
Super excited for if he just gets up there, and he did. But
yeah.
Little did you know that you were
standing right next to a great horned owl. So he goes out and banks kind of across. He's still flying away a little bit here, but I silhouetted him in the edit just to make it look like maybe he's just kind of going across. And it's cool. He's in a beach habitat, but it's not those dunes like we were just showing,
Sure.
Like that's what I would want this to be.
Right. It's not those clean, beautiful
Yeah, totally. So,
dunes. Which I think is the kind of struggle of shooting at White Sands. It's like
you go out to there.
You go out there and there's no wildlife, or it's all like the nocturnal little mice and things.
Sure.
Because
we see tracks all over the place.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see those little tracks.
It is.
But then, like, no birds around.
No.
And we've been out there multiple times now, so.
Yeah, that was probably like our third or fourth time.
Yeah.
So then we walk a little bit further. That whole thing dies down.
Oh,
We
yeah.
started just walking towards where we saw the owl go, thinking like maybe we'll come across him again. But I think he was like gone. And then I hear a bird flying overhead. It kind of clicks in my head. I think it's a Say's Phoebe. Yeah. And so I get him. So now
that's nice.
Again, like, isn't it weird?
I mean, it's like, but it's super branchy, but you do see some of the dunes and their texture in the mountains. Like, I think there's a big difference for some reason.
But like, why, right?
I don't know.
This one's on the right is arguably, it's more branchier.
It is.
More branchier. That's the word.
It's more branchier.
It's more branchy, but
I don't know.
it somewhat feels like it works more. Now, I shot him a bunch of different ways here too. That's too much at the bottom. Yeah, you know.
It's a really challenging habitat, I think.
There's one I edited.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of works.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe the branches are less like distracting than in the other one.
Because they're not in the sky.
Yeah, the other one was coming out too much, I think.
Yeah. He flew around, then he went into this mess of stuff. But I specifically put him in this dune.
White, yeah.
To get that silhouette kind of working. I think there.
That's nice.
I cropped all that stuff out.
Yeah.
And then I cloned a few branches out over
Okay.
here. So I think, if we go... Yeah.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I mean, not bad on the removal.
Yeah.
So like, that's what I'm saying. Like that to me is just a little bit of stuff coming in the bottom.
Right.
It's not like I've completely altered the thing,
Right.
but it's, I mean,
it's significant
it's
still.
a decent change, but I'm okay with doing that,
Versus
but not
the
cleaning up
other.
that other one.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it's
just
an
weird.
interesting thing.
It is strange.
Everybody's like lines with editing.
Exactly. But I like this.
Yeah,
It shows off the
that's
habitat,
pretty.
saves Phoebe, put him in the right spot, right in that light dune
Yeah.
there. So
For sure.
that was kind of cool. Then he went over on this grassy stuff and like, I'm just trying anything, you know,
Yeah.
just all not so good.
Yeah.
See, now I like this background a lot, but this is just
That's
a hot
way
mess.
too branchy.
It's just
for
a
sure.
hot mess, you
Yeah.
know, and it doesn't show the dunes and just another woodpecker trying to ID stuff. So, and that was it. Oh, we had some sparrows on the way back, I think. I don't know what he is.
He's cute.
Yeah. I'm not sure. We'll have to look it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know an ID on that sparrow off the top of my head, but yeah, anyway, you know, like we ended up with, you know, here's some favorite shots from those areas and that
Yeah.
time in the last week. But I mean,
I think one of the takeaways is that it can be really nice to just be in these places and explore, and good to take the camera because you don't know necessarily if you're going to get a killer outing like you did with the wrens.
yeah,
Or
No.
if you're going to see absolutely nothing going to White Sands, like in the clean part of the dunes.
yeah.
Or kind of, you know, what you're going to see.
And so I'm still thrilled to have that 28 to 400 for those
Yeah.
chances because like I can shoot any landscape I want.
Yeah.
Super telephoto landscape, really wide landscape,
Yeah.
like all of that kind of stuff with that lens. And yeah, whatever. It's not as sharp as our other lenses, but it's,
Right.
I mean, my gosh, it's
You've
plenty
taken,
damn sharp.
yeah, portraits
It's
that are,
plenty sharp,
yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Like, yes, I know there's a difference, but the flexibility of it is so worth it
Sure.
for
like,
what it gives.
right.
Yeah.
Especially in like the hiking and things that we do. We find ourselves in these beautiful places and environments.
Yeah,
And
Totally.
if the wildlife happens to be there, then you would like to have your camera.
Yeah. So I would say out of all these, that's my favorite shot.
Ah, that's nice.
Wildlife wise and scenic wise, I mean, I guess there's only like a handful of wildlife here.
Yeah.
These two are just scenic, but this Bisti one, like
Yeah, it's beautiful.
that's my favorite shot of probably the last week,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
But I do really
I mean,
enjoy
I love that.
all three of these.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
there's
And
something
I can't
cool
wait
about
to
them.
see your edits on the other
There's
ones.
there's definitely going to be more that come out of that
Yeah,
particular
that outing.
thing there. So yeah. So thanks everybody for joining us by our lovely fire. It finally
Yeah.
calmed down. It's quiet. We're gonna wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And yeah, well, we're gonna try and keep doing this. Within the next week, we're probably not gonna be shooting much. I'm flying back to New Jersey to help my mom with some short travel, and you're going back to visit your family in California.
Yes.
And then when we get back, we are going to Big Bend in
Oh
Texas.
yeah. Hopefully we get some cool stuff there.
I think we're going to have some
Yeah.
stuff there. So unless in the next 2 days we have another epic thing,
It might.
you know,
You
which
never
is
know.
totally possible with some birds, but
Otherwise,
we're going
we'll
to try
see you
one
in
more
Big
time at
Bend.
White Sands
Yeah.
to see if we can get something out there. But other than that, we'll see. Probably our next one of these will be from,
Big Bend.
or at least talking about Big Bend. I don't know if we'll do it from there. So
Yeah.
anyway, thanks so much. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you on the next one.